welcome to the Soccerlens Monday show. I'm Andy Brassell. Now we'll be looking back at a few things from over the weekend, starting with the bottom half of the Premier League and Portsmouth, who've been bottom for the whole season, still bottom, but really getting themselves back in touch with the rest with a thumping 4-0 win over Wigan Athletic, and very entertaining it was too. Now, I really never felt that Portsmouth were completely cut adrift, even when they lost the first 7 games of the season, a terrible start. But there are a lot of vulnerable looking clubs in the bottom half of the table, and Hull City, another one of those, of course, losing at Burnley at the weekend. And I received an email from a close friend who's a Hull City supporter over the weekend, and he said, well, there may be a lot of cack in the bottom half of the Premier League, but unfortunately we are the smelliest poo in the toilet at the moment. But again, I don't feel that has to be necessarily fatal. And I think it's going to come down to goal scorers for Portsmouth and Hull City alike. Now, of course, Portsmouth racking up that resounding win with the help of a duo who are on loan from the French League at the moment, Frédéric Piquion and Aruna Dindan. Now, of course, they've both had a couple of pretty barren seasons, and it's for that reason that Portsmouth have been able to get hold of them. But there's a lot of natural talent there with both of them. They're both fairly suited to the English game, with plenty of pace, strength, and of course they know where the goal is, which they showed at the weekend. Now, it's the same with Hull. I feel they've got some attacking potential in that squad with Jose Altidore and Kamel Gilas, of course, who had some great seasons at Guimarães and Celta Vigo. So really, with that goal scoring potential, not only is it going to be really tight at the bottom, but I think we could see a lot of goals in the most exciting relegation battle in years. Now, if we go across to Braga in northern Portugal, where a lot of Portsmouth's troubles arguably started with that real thumping that Harry Redknapp's team took in the then UEFA Cup last season, they've started the season in terrific form. Braga, 8 wins and a draw from their first 9 games, and they are now sole leaders of the Portuguese league after a terrific win in a real test for them at home to the previously unbeaten Benfica, who of course have been playing great football themselves so far this season. 2-0 to Braga, and Domingos Paciencia, the manager, doing a wonderful job in charge of them. But Hugo Viana, a Premier League reject, setting them on their way with a tremendous free kick in the 7th minute of that game. And Viana's been splendid so far this season. Talking of barren seasons, as we were before with Piquion and Dindan, he's had a really rough trot. He played no games at all in the first team for Valencia last season, and he's only played less than 35 in the last 3 seasons combined with Valencia and a loan spell at Osasuna. Now, we talked last week about João Moutinho and Miguel Veloso, and how some of the younger players have struggled to come through and take the mantle of Portuguese legends who've retired in the national team. Now, Viana is no longer a young prospect. He's 26 years old and he's going to be 27 in January. But he's someone with such a great feel for the natural tempo of the game, such a smooth passer of the ball, and can take superb set pieces as well. So him getting himself back on form, and he's only really ever showed his best form in the Portuguese league with Sporting and Braga. That could be another person who could step into those gaps that have appeared in the Portuguese squad, and he could do something for the national team in the future. Now, if we look at his parent club, Valencia, because of course he's still on loan from there, they're having a good little run in the Spanish league as well. Now, there's been a lot of talk this week, renewed speculation linking their 2 stars, David Villa and David Silva, with moves specifically to the Premier League, and everyone knows that Valencia have got big problems there. But it's not just about those 2 at the moment, even though they're really going to have to hold on to them if they want to get in the Champions League. And apart from the sale of their ground at Mestalla when they move to their new stadium, that is the way that they're going to make a dent in their substantial debts that everyone knows they have, by re-qualifying for the Champions League and doing that on a consistent basis. But it's not just about Silva and Villa, but also the other players, those who've been perhaps a little marginalised in the past. And it reminds me a little of Chelsea in 2002-2003 season, the last season before Roman Abramovich took over the club. Now, they were in a bit of a parlous financial state at the time, and for that they couldn't buy any players. Well, it created a great stability. Claudio Ranieri, who's great at doing that sort of firefighting role, managed to create a great team spirit and a great work ethic, and that's what qualified them for the Champions League. And it's players like that who could do the same for Valencia. Now, if we look at El País today, we have la realización de David Navarro. That means the rehabilitation of David Navarro, one of those players. It says the centre-back of Valencia, since transformed since his loan at Mallorca, defeats Malaga with his goal. And he was important for them yesterday. Also, Cesar Sanchez, the goalkeeper, who had a rather iffy spell at Tottenham Hotspur after leaving Zaragoza, but he's come over there as a squad player, but he's really battling it out with the excellent young Moya to get in the first team there, and he's kept clean sheets in 4 successive games. It's players like him, Eva Banega, who looked like they had no future at the Mestalla, who are working together to get Valencia in that good position. They've won 4 out of 5 on the road as well, and they're looking pretty good to get that Champions League spot at the end of the season. And if they do get that, it'll be because it's been a real collective team effort. Well, thanks again for joining us. We'll be here again next Monday. Do send your thoughts, your queries, any questions you might have on European football. I'll do my best to answer those. In the meantime, you can keep up with me on www.allornothingtv.net or follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Andy Brassell. I hope you enjoy all the Champions League games this week, and we'll see you again soon.